All right, we're bringing back Keila and Salty Scott from The Wrap. Last year, we did an NXT draft, which was a fun little project. And this year, we're changing it up where we're doing a full WWE draft. Now, I wanted to remind y'all what our picks were for the NXT draft last year. And let's decide who was the winner. And I'll start with Keila's team. Keila's team was Fraxium, then it was Ethan Page, then it was Lash and Jakara Jackson, R.I.P. Jakara Jackson. And the idea was that, you know, these people would go up to the main roster. So Keila did get Fraxium on the main roster, and Lash Legend, who made it up at the end of the year. Ethan Page has not really been WWE main roster, though he's been on AAA. I love Jakara Jackson, so that was more so just because she's not Jakara Jackson anymore. I still think AEW should have figured out a way to put her on the roster, but they did not, or at least not yet. Scott's picks were Obafemi, Stephanie Vaquer, and Javon Evans. What a strong threesome that was. John's was Trick Williams, Tony D, and Fallon Henry. One extremely strong pick. Tony D was kind of AWOL for a lot of this year.
Yeah.
And then my picks were Jada, unfortunately, did not make the main roster. I did get one with Roxanne. I got another one with Julia, but Julia's reign on SmackDown has been short like leprechauns, according to Biggie Smalls.
He's a champ still.
I know, but it's been so boring.
I think this second effort's been a nice little start, I think, to get him more TV time, so it's good.
We'll see. I like the twosome. It just seems like I don't know. It hasn't been too exciting. It's been very exciting for Chelsea Green, but not for Julia. All right, so that was I would say Scott won if we're basing it on all the folks who made it to WWE, especially by the end of the year. Javon is up there, even though they didn't show his segment on Raw. He was invisible on that one. But okay, so that was last year, but this is this year. So what we're doing is we have some categories here. Now, this is all WWE main roster. We have the men's main eventers category, and we have the rest of the men. We have the women's main eventers, the rest of the women, and then we have the NXT, which is kind of like what we did last year, which is who's got the best chance to come up. And then we'll have a wild card as well. Now, how are we going to score this? Well, I'm not really going to score it, but the idea is that folks who are on top in the main event scene, the more PLEs they main event, the more championships that they win, that would kind of determine who's got the better year. So on the non-main event scene, if somebody from that list actually bumps up to the next level, that would be very nice for them. We were going to do tag teams, but when I looked at the WWE tag team division, a lot of the tag teams, especially on the women's side, are just made up of the solo singles stars. So I did not want to take them out of those categories. Now, we did the drawing before the show started, and Keila is our number one pick. I will go second, then Scott, and then John. And I think Keila, you're on the clock. Who is going to be your number one pick?
Do I expend all 5 minutes on the clock like an NFL team?
This could be the LeBron James draft here, where Cleveland was like, I need about 13 seconds to make my
Yes. The pick is in. Let's go out there, get the jersey ready, get the hat ready. LeBron, you're a Cavalier. Congratulations to you. So I'm not going to expend the entire 5 minutes on the clock. My number one draft pick, my main eventer, who I am going with in 2026, will be a returning, healed, convalesced Seth Rollins.
Ooh, I think he's going to have a big year for sure. So that is in the men's main event category. First pick, Seth Rollins. I'm going to go in the next category. So we determined before this draft that Braun Breaker would not be in the men's main event because he's technically only main evented. He's only been in one championship match for the world title. He's still very new. He's gonna more than likely have a great year, and I think that's what makes him very valuable in the non-main event men's section. So I'm going to take Braun Breaker. All right, Scott, you are up.
All right, y'all making this real easy for me. I'm gonna take Cody Rhodes. I mean, if he's right there, just gonna sit in my lap, I'll take him for me.
Here's a question. I got a question for all of y'all, actually, because I was thinking about this. So Cody in men's main event. I was talking to our buddy Jeremy Finestone, and we were talking about what's the big thing that's going to happen for WWE. So obviously, Drew McIntyre is now the WWE champion. What does Cody do unless he just wins the title back very, very soon? But if that is not the case, what is his story for 2026 heading into 2027? And where Jeremy and I where we sat with this was, what if the idea is Cody versus Rock at WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia? How would you get there? And we kind of wondered if Rock was going to get Cody's soul at some point this year.
Oh man, I don't want to see The Rock around WWE for a long time now.
Well, I mean, he's got to be at the Saudi WrestleMania, right? Like that's the easy one.
That's what, next year?
Yeah, that's the 2027.
I mean, if he comes back, I want to see that match, him versus Cody, because that's what they last built to. So that's what I want to see. But I know they.
How do you get there?
I'm worried about 2026, not worried about 2027. But
it relates, right? Because if anything happens for next year's WrestleMania, it probably starts sometime this summer, at least, if there is a version of a Cody and Rock story.
Well, Rock didn't get his Golden Globe, so Cody's got that for him right now. So we know the Rock's coming back. He didn't get his award, so we know he's coming back. So yeah, that's one main event I got to look forward to.
I would think it'd be around I would think The Rock wouldn't wrestle a match if it wasn't a main event match, obviously, and also I'm sure he would want a championship involved. So I could see Cody being champion at that point next year, WrestleMania. I mean, in 2027. So
put your people's title up, Rock. Like, why you gotta be stingy with that people's championship?
The one that Mama Ali gave him, and
yeah, Lonnie Ali, man.
Yeah, he made from his own place. He gave it to her to give back to him. It's like, oh my gosh.
So while Cody is a fantastic pick, I'm just wondering, because he has been champion for the better part of 2 years now, is his trajectory still kind of as like the working man's WWE champ, or is he possibly turning heel, or what? Like what do you do to keep the Cody engine running hot is the question.
I think he's got main events in him. I don't think he wins any. I think he'll just be the guy who just takes some losses to the main eventers to build them up. And this can kind of be his rebuilding year, whether they want to slowly turn him while they build up another face, or they're just going to keep building up their heels. And he has this big redemption story in the following year. But I still see him in the main events. He's just not going to be winning a lot of them.
I wonder if he can kind of not be down and out, but bit of a losing streak, bit of coming up short in opportunities, and then the final boss returns, and he has to lose a rumble or something again, to get that shot, to fight the final boss or something like that. I can see The Rock winning the damn belt going into WrestleMania. I could see something like that happening, but and people.
I wonder if CM Punk would keep the same tune as last time when The Rock did that. CM Punk was kind of salty about that. Rock just holding the championship hostage. I don't think he would be salty anymore. He understands.
Yeah.
Okay, John, you got 2 picks back to back here.
All right. So I'm going to go with still the men's main event. I'm going to pick my favorite wrestler today, Gunther. I think you do what
big
you
year
do with
coming up.
Big year for him. You don't, seen his last match with him and not do nothing, and I think they got really big plans for him. So excited to see what's going to happen with him in 2026. And then I'm gonna, since I got 2 picks, I'm gonna go with NXT, and I'm gonna go with Ethan Page.
So Ethan Page on his way up. He is not that I was surprised, but all of a sudden the internet was abuzz because Dave Meltzer was like, yeah, Ethan Page is the one who should be up. Like, what's going on here? And maybe people thought that Dave was not an Ethan Page fan. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. People kind of reacted to that. I was like, yeah, he's been fantastic. Like, what?
A lot of the call-ups is just, it's not just random anymore. It's I think they have somewhat of a plan, like, and then plus you have to have like a spot. Like maybe they see Ethan Page can do more. So let's bring him up when we actually have some space that we can put him on and feature him instead of just rushing him up. And then next, they're just trying to figure out something to do with them. So I think there's a little more planning involved this time around than when Vince was there, so in charge.
All right, Scott, you are next. You have a men's main event category already taken, and so the rest of them are available to you.
I'm going to go with the women's main event, someone who I think is going to have a very big year. I think this is going to be my Royal Rumble pick.
You're going to steal mine so bad right now.
I got Bianca Belair coming back to take control of that women's division. I see her winning the Rumble. I see her winning the title at WrestleMania. And I see her getting those final notches in her belt. Charlotte Flair, Jade, all of them. We might get that big showdown with Rhea hopefully this year. But I got Bianca Belair back on top.
You want to know how high I was on Bianca? If Keila went with Braun as her first pick, Bianca was going to be my second pick. That's how high I am on Bianca right now. Now I got to adjust my entire thing here.
I'm hoping that comes true, Scott. I really do. I want to see that. I want to see Rhea. I want to see Bianca. Just what I want.
So I think I am staying in the women's main eventers. Even though I didn't get Bianca, I am going to get my backup pick there, and that is Rhea Ripley. She is still so damn young, and she is now like almost like a seasoned vet to an extent. So I think she's going to have a pretty big year. I am interested though how they're going to keep her fresh. This tag team with Io has done a good job at keeping both of them fresh, I think, because you're not getting burned out on them being in singles matches. So I think they'll have to continue to do something with that friendship that continues in 2026. But Rhea's fantastic, so she's not a bad backup pick for me. All right, Keila, you got 2 coming up.
All righty. So since y'all just stole like the 2 best picks in the women's division, I'll guess I'll go to the other side of the non-main eventers. And is Liv Morgan available for the non-main eventers?
Liv Morgan is available.
I will take her.
Good pick. That's a fantastic pick. Well, who was the was it a Fightful post that they said that she is going to be heavily in the mix come WrestleMania time for whatever the big program is going to be? I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very, very good pick. All right, who's your next pick back to back here?
All right, so I'm gonna dip into the NXT well for a bit. I'm gonna pick another female talent. I want to see JC Jane get called up this year.
Yeah.
JC Jane. Okay, so now John, we just talked about. John just mentioned that they have spots for these people. They have plans for these people now. Where would you like to see JC Jane fit on the main roster, Keila?
Preferably on SmackDown, because they need the help. They need the depth and the talent, especially for both title scenes. Very soft right now in terms of challengers. I think she'll help bolster the women's title scene and the U.S. title scene, just in case you need her there to try to just give some life to a division that needs strong competition. We talk about Julia, and she's on reign number 2, but she has no heat as champion because WWE has sucked all the heat from her with this presentation thus far, and she needs help. and maybe a face turn will facilitate that. And JC Jane is a great heater in terms of personality, and she's improved so much from her starting NXT as a member of Toxic Attraction to leading her own faction now to growing as NXT champion over the last year or so.
Now, would you bring her up as a singles, or would you already have a faction or a crew? Because she's mostly worked with a faction for her NXT stuff.
I'll let her fly solo to see what she can do by herself, because I think that she's gotten the confidence to carry herself as a solo star, especially on the microphone without the backup.
All right. Who do I go with now? Okay, so I have men's main eventers, but y'all already got your men's main eventers, I think. So I don't even have to pick that one until my last pick. I think I'm going to go with my women's non-main eventers. And this is my favorite woman on the ascent, shall we say, and that is Roxanne Perez. I don't know if she gets a run with the big belt. I would hope that she gets a run with the big belt because she's amazing, but she's always on TV. She's always doing stuff with her crew, and I don't know. I just think she has I think she has some of the most quality matches in the mid card on Raw for the women's side, and then also last year I predicted that she was going to be the longest survivor in the Royal Rumble. And I think she was. I think she's in there for like over an hour. So I want to see her do that again because she's going to make that match better. So I'm going Roxanne Perez. All right, Scott, who's next for you? You have Cody Rhodes in your men's main event, and you have Bianca Belair in your women's main event. So you have NXT, women's non-main eventer, and men's non-main eventer.
So I'm going to go down to NXT. I'm going to take a gentleman who is only there right now to stabilize the brand, to keep it melanated as the champion or eventual champion, but he will get called up in, sometime this year, and that's going to be Ricky Saints.
Yeah.
Feel very confident about that. I think he's only there to stabilize it.
Like John said, I hope that they really have a plan with him because I think, I don't want to compare him to The Miz necessarily because I think he's a better wrestler. Now, in WWE lingo, Miz is a bigger person, a bigger human than Ricky. But I think Ricky could be one of those guys that if you want to do press, if you want to do media, you want to send out someone smart to represent your company, like Ricky's perfect at that because he's such a good speaker. I just hope the size doesn't work against him on the main roster, though. We see how they're finally doing some stuff with Carmelo Hayes, so that I think that's a positive. But man, I'm such a Ricky fan. I've just been so disappointed in his NXT stuff so far. So I hope they have a good plan for him when they do eventually move him up. For sure.
Yeah, I think I like to see Ricky. I think he's going to be on the NXT brand for a good amount of 2026. But I think I would personally bring up as a heel. And I think he should have some muscle behind him. So I think Powerhouse Hobbs would look nicely with him again in the WWE. So we may see that in 2026.
That would be so awesome. I did ask somebody, I was like, what is his contract situation like? And they were like, I thought he just recently re-signed. So Powerhouse Hobbs, whatever Powerhouse Hobbs does, I'm following. I'm a fan. And if he would show up with Ricky in WWE, I think as much as you can kind of blow people's minds in pro wrestling today, I think that would be a really good one. But
yeah.
All right, John, you got 2 picks.
They'd be hard for Triple H to see, though.
I would think they would.
That's a lot of.
I would think they're going to start on NXT first because I was thinking about this. I was talking to someone else about this, and we're talking about Powerhouse Hobbs. And I was thinking, well, you have Oba, and then are you going to debut Would you debut Powerhouse Hobbs on the same main roster? You know what I mean? I know there's 2 different shows, so you can maybe split them up, but there would probably receive a similar push, right? You want to just be destroying people. That's what I would do. Both of those guys should be destroying people. So, which I hope to see in 2026. But I was just curious how. But I'm excited. I'm excited by his future. I love the guy, and I think he is criminally underused in AEW. So I hope he gets a good shot in WWE if that happens. But, all right. Anyways, so I have a Gunther as my men's main event, correct?
Yes.
So my non
and you have Ethan Page as your NXT.
Right, true. My non-male, my male non-main eventer. I'm gonna go. You know what? He's hurt right now, but I think he's just gearing for a huge babyface run. I'm gonna go with Dominic Mysterio.
That would have been if I didn't get Braun. That would have been my men's pick because I think they see his AAA reactions, and so it's almost like now I always mention this because John and I were at the Raw where I think it was the first time that Dom got those crazy boos just by opening his mouth, because I was sitting in them ringer seats and I saw this man mouth something to himself as almost to say like, wait, what is happening right now? And I think this AAA thing is just more proof that he can take it to the next level. And then I'm guessing that he's going to do more stuff with his pops to even grow him to that next level. And by the end of 2026, would any of us be surprised if he had like a surprise world title run or something like that? That may be too soon a little bit, but I think that's coming. That's in the cards.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a world champion one day for sure.
All right. Now you have your next pick that would need to be your women's non-main eventer.
Can I go wild card? Oh no, I can't do wild card now.
We'll
can't do wild card.
Save wild card for the end.
All right. So I'm gonna go women's main eventer. I think Jade's gonna get a lot of opportunities this year. Still, even though she's champion now, I still think she's going to get a lot of opportunities. So I'm going Jade.
You got Jade Cargill, and you did not pick Becky Lynch, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, Stephanie Vaquer, Tiffany Stratton. So you think very highly of one Jade then by taking her over them.
She's doing all right. I think, but I think she's always going to be in the mix, so I like her. So I'm going with her.
All right, Scott, you are next.
For my men's non-main eventer, I'm going with the guy who's been trying to be a main eventer for the last 3 years since he broke away from the bloodline. He keeps saying it's going to be his year. We'll see, but he's always good for a good match. So I'm taking Sami Zayn.
I think that's a really good pick. And if they want to progress this storyline of him possibly getting a run or a WrestleMania main event, having a heel Drew McIntyre win the big title, like that gives him a better opportunity, right? Like, I don't know what the creative is. I don't know what they're leading to, but the option of Sami Zayn possibly being in one of those big matches increases just by the mere fact that Drew wins that belt. We'll see. I mean, we'll see the reason, I'm sure, because there's got to be a reason for this title change at this point. But that's a good one. He was going to be on my I had him second on my third on my men's non-main eventer list. So that's a good pick. All right, I am going Sol Ruka for my NXT pick because she's not technically on the main roster, right? Not yet.
Probably after WrestleMania, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think she has everything that they really like about their women, all in one nice package. Now, will she talk at that level? Probably not yet. I would like to see more of that on NXT. Not like I'm watching these days though, because every time I watch, I get so sad and disappointed. But I think she's got the goods athletically. We'll see if she can kind of do the entire the big picture of it all. All right, Keila, you got 2.
All righty. So let's go with non-main event male talent. I'm going to go with Melo. Carmelo Hayes is going to have a very strong 2026. Triple H finally saw him to end the year, and I hope he continues to see him heading into WrestleMania season. So that's my pick for non-main event male. Dip my toe in the wild card section if I can, if possible.
I think is that what wait, because you have men's main eventer, you took Seth, women's non-main eventer, you took Liv, JC Jane, NXT, Carmelo Hayes. No, you still need a women's main eventer, I believe.
Gotcha. All righty, let me think. I'm going to buy stock into Charlotte Flair in 2026. I think there's some equity there to be used. Dream main events I can manifest for her in 2026 away from the tag team ranks.
Okay, now I think the key here is for her to stay babyface, right? Because being a babyface has kind of rejuvenated her. It was so hard. I mean, she was kind of like, it was like worse than Cena when Cena was trying to be a babyface and was getting booed because he knew how to kind of go with it. She didn't. She took those boos like really seriously. And now here we are over a year later. And I think she's figured it out. Like she's really due in part some to Alexa Bliss, but I think the key for her would be keeping that babyface appeal. And then, she could always turn heel whenever, but I this is like a really good version of Charlotte Flair. So I'm excited for her in this upcoming year for sure.
Me too.
All right, so now I need my men's main eventer. I saved it for last because y'all took them very early. I can go Drew. I can go Roman. I can go Punk. If I go with who I think is going to probably wrestle the most and be on top the most, it's between Drew and Punk, and I'm just going to lean with Punk because I think he's kind of figured it out. He's figured out how to be a main eventer and not have to wrestle all the time and not be the worker bee. He's really leaned into his stardom here. And the only thing I'm really worried about, and this is probably somewhat depending on who he wrestles, such as when he wrestled Braun Breaker, he just looks like he's going to get broken in half sometimes. So that's what I worry about. I'm like, oh man, this guy is too old to be taking this stuff. So I hope it's just, he's just a good worker and he's putting that into his work, making it seem like he could possibly get injured from these young, bigger, faster and stronger dudes. But I'm going with Punk. I think Punk's been, he's been one of the most dependable and consistent performers at the main event scene, even if his wrestling, the athleticism in his wrestling is not quite there as it once was, but I think it's still passable and it's different enough from the current style that I think it stands out still in a pretty decent way. So I'm going Punk.
Good pick.
All right, Scott, what do you got left?
So I have my non-women's main eventer, and this is kind of harder than I thought it was going to be. Part of me is telling me to take Asuka because I think that's a safe bet. I think she's going to be in the mix for a lot of things, but I'm going to go out a little bit, and I think someone who I think is going to have a really big year. She came in the beginning of the year, started talking smack to the main eventer in Jade. I think Jordan Grace is going to have a really good 2026. I think with the depleted SmackDown mid-card, I think she could really make a name for herself there, be a U.S. champion, a dominant champion. And I think she will get some opportunities at that top title. So I think Jordan Grace is going to have a good year this year.
There you go. That's and so I'm just going to read some of the women that Scott overlooked in this category. Someone like a Bailey, someone like an Alexa Bliss. You already mentioned Asuka. You no Chelsea Green, no Lash Legend. No Maxine Dupree. I'm just kidding. No one was going to take Maxine Dupree.
Champion.
We talked about Naomi, but we were sort of unsure as to whether or not she would be back this year because of she's about to have child. Also, Nia Jax, Nikki Bella, Raquel Rodriguez, those were out there as well. So you went Jordan Grace. There you go. All right, now we have John with his last overall pick before we get to the wild card round, and John will also have the first pick of the wild card round.
So my last pick is, I think it's the women's non main event, right?
Yeah, you have Gunther.
One?
You have Gunther as your men's main eventer. You have Ethan Page for your NXT. You have Dom Mysterio for your overall men's pick, and you have Jade Cargill as your women's main eventer. So you just need your overall women's pick.
I'm gonna go with Raquel Rodriguez. I'm always been a fan of her, and I like what they're doing with her now with the injuries and whatnot. So I think she might be a big player, especially with the live stuff too later on. She'll be involved with all that. So going Raquel.
All right, and now you can pick whoever's left from any of the categories who you think may have been overlooked here.
Well, I'm trying to think who's going to be in the main event. I'm going to go with Trick Williams. Let's talk about it.
Let's go. Trick Willie. Wait, what did he say? The segment that he did with who was it? I can't remember. It was a couple SmackDowns ago, but he gave himself like 3 or 4 different nicknames.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn.
It was Sami Zayn.
I still say, man, when Sammy started talking back to him, he should just walked out of the ring. Like turned his back to Sammy, just took off. Like, instead of like Sammy like doing his final promo and walking off. I would have loved it if Sammy started doing this promo, like his final, like, come back, and he's like, nope, I'm out. I already said what I need to say. Like, you're beneath me. I would love to see that with Trick Williams do that. That would have been awesome. But he did good with Randy Orton, even though he hit some fan with the microphone. But that was okay.
God.
I think he would have hit. I don't know what happened, but have you seen the segment yet? No,
I haven't watched SmackDown yet.
Well, Randy started talking and he smacked the microphone out of his hand, like after, and I thought, great, that's what something should have happened with Sammy.
Yeah.
But he hit it so hard, the mic bounced. You don't see what happens, like who hit, but you see like Trick break character for a little bit, go, oh shit, kind of like, so I hope he didn't get any heat for that. But and he had a good match with Rey Fenix, so I thought he should have won with his finish, not pulling the trunks, because I don't think you should pull trunks on a mid-carder to win. You should use that for when you're, a main event finish. So, but, yeah.
Him having all of those nicknames and I'm old school, by the way, so it reminded me of Apollo Creed, because when Apollo Creed was announced, he was the Master of Disaster, the King of Sting, and the Count of Montefisto. And so he's like just 4. Like, I think Trick should just go more. Like, he should just go like, there's like more nicknames. Like, give me more nicknames. Or you can just call me Trick Willie.
He has. I mean, he has amazing gift for gab. He's definitely going to be. He'll come up with a lot of stuff throughout this year, I'm sure.
All right, Scott, you got your wild card.
This would have been an easy pick for Javon Evans, except for the fact that they debuted him off air, signing contracts to be on the roster. So doesn't give me a lot of hope for what's going to happen with him. So
I think he's going to be fine.
Again, I'm going to. I hope so, but I'm not. He's not off to a good start. But I'm gonna go with another kind of off the wall pick. He started off strong since he's returned from injury, and I think he's gonna continue to have a strong 2026. I think he'll be another U.S. champion. I think he'll get some main event love here down the road. I think Ilya Dragunov is going to have another strong year. So I'm going to take him as my wild card. I see him, just the match quality is always going to be strong with him. I think the crowd's going to really start to get behind him. As long as he can stay healthy, I think he'll get to sniff that main event scene this year.
All right, I'm going to tell the people listening who I thought were the best bets left on the board. Now, like I said, we have not drafted Roman Reigns yet, and I think the only reason is because we just don't know how many matches Roman Reigns is going to wrestle in 2026. He may wrestle, every time he wrestles, it may just be a PLE main event match, and he may win a title. So if that is the case, then it's probably a good pick. Drew McIntyre, the new SmackDown champion, another good pick. It's just dependent on whether or not he's going to hold that title for very long. There are other folks like If You Believe, like John does, and someone like Austin Theory, whether or not he's going to do well. I do not, so I'm not going to pick him. One of my faves is Bronson Reed, but he's kind of the third dude in that, second or third dude in that faction. So he's not necessarily the main guy. I also thought about Jacob Fatu, who's coming back from injury, Logan Paul, he keeps saying that he's now full-time. I don't know exactly what that means. I think, though, I'm going to go with Obafemi. Now, this may be too early for him, but it also may be one of those things where they just try and get him off and running. And so I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm taking him with the idea that they were like, we put this dude in the ring with Cody. He had a good match. The fans responded to him. He was our NXT champion. We didn't want him to drop the title on the way out because we don't want him to lose. That tells me, I don't know if he's going to be Bill Goldberg, but that tells me that they're going to put him in big stuff right away. So I'm going to Obafemi.
I love that vignette they have for him. I can watch that. That gets me so pumped up when I watch that. I was like, if I never saw him before ever, and they just showed me that vignette, I'd be like, I cannot wait for this guy. I can't wait to see this guy. What's going to do?
It's pretty cool that you have Trick doing his thing coming in, and you're playing to Trick's strength, which is just give this dude a live microphone and let him cook. And then the Oba thing is kind of old school, where they're doing vignettes. They're making you like every week go, oh, I can't wait to see this guy. I can't wait to see this guy. Now, I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with Javon. I can't tell yet. I'm sure they're going to do something. I don't think they're just going to debut him cold. So there's something there, but I like the differences in what they're doing with Trick and Oba because, it just shows you that they're investing in different ways in both of those guys.
Yeah, I think Javon's going to end up winning some matches now that he's on the main roster. I think he's going to have a breakout year. I don't know what they're going to do with the Intercontinental title. I'd love to see him win that kind of quickly. That'd be kind of cool. Like out of nowhere, just a surprise picks or something like that. Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right, Keila, you got the last wild card pick to wrap us up here.
I'm furious because you picked my guy Obafemi. Very unhappy with you right now. Just stole him. Just shacked my pick. But I'm going to find someone from the depths. I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to shine them up. I'm going to elevate them. I'm going to try with them. I'm going to select The Miz. I kid.
I was just going to say that.
I got really excited there for a second.
Hey, you was about to get a lot of love from me for that one.
Hey,
I know.
I predict this. Let me predict something real quick. Scott's redemption story with The Miz is when Miz retires and everyone on social media is going to come out and how much they loved him and they appreciate and respect him. And all these people that used to say they hated him are all going to come out like, oh, I liked him actually.
There's going to be TikTok videos of The Miz beating John Cena and people going on TikTok going like, you young bucks don't even know. The Miz was a problem.
Him and Boris
and I'm gonna be right there
saying
wrestling. Not a single one of y'all was saying it when he was wrestling. It was only me. I was on an island by myself.
Yep. Get ready for that podcast, guys.
I'm still a fan of Mike Mizanin, though. More so than I like the Miz. I don't hate the Miz, but I like Mike. I like the real world road rules. The champion, Mike Mizanin. That's my favorite Miz. All right, Keila.
All right, my serious pick, the guy who I'm going to put some stock in 2026. I am going to go with Penta.
Oh, wow.
He was on my my mind when I was thinking in the wild card. Yeah.
Penta.
Very interesting. Now, this is not a draft for people who slow walk to save other wrestlers in the ring. Because if it was, he would be the number one pick of this draft.
He'll be joining the Jeff Hardy Hall of Fame of
Jeff
saves.
though.
Rhea Ripley's there too.
Rhea is there as well.
She can make up ground pretty quick when she starts running. Jeff was just dancing the whole way.
Yes, just in a vibe.
You know, one person that I thought might get drafted just because of the retirement storyline, which probably makes it so that he's going to be in more stuff, is AJ. I thought there's a possibility that AJ was going to get drafted. I thought there was a possibility that Fatu would have been my next pick if I couldn't have taken Oba. I would have taken Jacob Fatu, because I just by the mere fact that he's involved kind of in that mix on SmackDown, that tells me that you know, that they have some really good ideas. Randy Orton was another one, because the only thing is Randy is kind of on that Roman schedule, so you don't really know. But I'm still waiting for that Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes feud that I just thought was always going to be there. That is just hasn't been there yet. Nobody took Jey Uso after Jey Uso's main event leveling up in 2025. He is now back on the tag scene with his brother, but something is happening there. We don't know exactly yet.
Yeah.
We just hope that it is not Uso versus Uso again, because that was not fun the last time. And then on the women's side for the main eventers, Io Sky was out there. Becky Lynch, like I had mentioned, also out there. Stephanie Vaquer, who is kind of like the new star of the women's division. She did not get selected. So the way that we did this, also I want to shout out two of my faves, Jada Parker and Lola Vice, did not get selected. And it's just because I'm just not sure what, like, there's a little bit of inconsistency going with both of them. So I can't see the path yet for them. But if I'm going to watch NXT, it is probably going to be for them more than most. So anyways, all right. No Blake Monroe either.
Yeah, she would have been a good wild card, because I'm sure with that contract, she's going up sooner than later. So,
and Kendall Gray, if you believe in evolve to main roster jumps, she's kind of on the hot list right now.
I think she's 2027 when it comes to the main roster. I think she's going to be the anchor of the women's division in 2026 for NXT for sure.
All right, we are done here, but before we go, I want to read off all of our picks again. I think I'll figure out a way to post our picks on Instagram or Twitter or something, and people can let us know. You can send me an email, gg@fightgamemedia.com. We'll post it in the Discord, see who's got the best team. So for Keila, she has Seth Rollins, Liv Morgan, JC Jane, Carmelo Hayes, Charlotte Flair, and Penta. I have Braun Breaker, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Sol Ruka, CM Punk, and Obafemi. Scott has The Miz. No, he didn't pick The Miz. Cody Rhodes, Bianca Belair, Ricky Saints, Sami Zayn, Jordan Grace, and Ilya Dragunov. And John has Gunther, Ethan Page, Dom Mysterio, Jade Cargill, Raquel Rodriguez, and Trick Willie. There are our teams. So first, I want to thank Keila and Scott for jumping on with us. Y'all are now doing your live stream pretty much after Monday Night Raw is over. So we've changed schedules a little bit to take advantage of Monday Night Raw and the Netflix show. So if you want to listen to Keila and Scott get busy on Monday nights after Raw, just subscribe to the Fight Game Media YouTube channel and also the Fight Game Media audio channel. Their show will be up later that evening for Tuesday morning listening. You know, before we get out of here, Scott and Keila, I was wondering if you guys had a prediction of what you expect to happen in WWE in 2026. And if you do, who would like to go first?
Ladies first.
Oh, gosh.
That means you're still thinking, I think.
Yes. Just going to punt it to me as he would always do. Like, ladies first, trying to be a gentleman. So kind of you. Now, are we making like storyline predictions, business predictions for WWE?
Whatever you want. When I was talking to Paul Fontaine, and we were talking about predictions, one of my predictions was that, like, I think Netflix is going to be really strong. I think WWE is going to stay focused on that show. I think Netflix is behind that show. I'm a little more worried about SmackDown. SmackDown is no longer in the NBC universe. It is on the Versant network, which is the old NBC cable shows, and that's a different company. So the only real connection to NBC now is the Peacock Saturday Night Main Event shows. And I wonder, with SmackDown going back to 3 hours and maybe not as much need to really make SmackDown an A show, I kind of wonder if it's just going to be a B show. And if it is, my prediction was that it was just going to lose viewers in the ratings and possibly go under 1 million for the average for at some point in 2026, which is not, it's not great, but it's also not terrible, because still they're probably still Versant's top show weekly. But I think the Netflix relationship is just something that is much more important to WWE than this spin-off happening, which they had nothing to do with, right? They signed to put their show on NBC Universal, and NBC Universal was like, nope, we're not doing this stuff anymore. We're spinning this off to a different company. So that's my prediction. It's probably not terribly like outlandish in any way or daring, but I think it makes some sort of sense business wise. But that's kind of what mine was. But you can do whatever you want.
Gotcha. I agree. Like when they plucked the Peacock away from all of the cable networks, that was it, essentially. So now you're on your own. And I do sense SmackDown is going to be like a lesser than show for that network, but it is the lone show that is going to keep that network afloat outside of like Olympics coverage during the Winter Olympics coming up in February. And that might preempt SmackDown for a couple of weeks. We'll see about that. But my prediction, I'm always thinking business side of WWE. I do think that we're going to see a bubble burst, and I'm thinking it's going to be WrestleMania. I'm just thinking that the returns this year, going back to the market again in Las Vegas, it's going to be a little bit underwhelming. And that will motivate WWE to, I don't know, go to different cities like you used to do and get money that way. It might not be sexy in terms of market share sometimes, but in terms of just shaking up the environment and the scenery, it's needed, preferably starting next year after the Saudi WrestleMania. We got to endure that and focus on 2028, because we know that Indianapolis is due a WrestleMania.
What about Minnesota?
Sometime.
Minnesota for a long time.
Yeah, they've been waiting. Poor New Orleans is going to get money in the bank. So, Atlanta, we need something. So hook us up.
No, you don't.
Hook us up.
You know what's interesting about that prediction is, in some senses, a lot of what they did last year was really the nostalgia John Cena act. And when you do that act, because John Cena was such a big star and business-wise, he was their biggest star, it does put some other things on hold. And so now it's kind of like you got to pay the piper, and you don't have John. And now we're building up some of these younger folks. So I don't even know if it's necessarily bad. It's almost like it's a necessity to make a Braun Breaker, to make a Trick Williams, to make an Obafemi, while at the same time, it may take a little while for those folks to resonate with the current audience. So you are going to rely on a Roman and a Punk and a Seth, but that might not be as big as John Cena's 2025. So even if they do have, the kind of the growing pains that Keila and I are predicting, it's almost like a necessity, because you still have to build young stars in wrestling to do so. All right, Scott, did Keila's answer give you enough time to think about one?
Yeah, just enough time. I got in the last 10 seconds. No, I it's kind of going off of what you all said. Actually, I think 2026 we are finally going to get a world champion that is under the age of 30.
Do you have a thought of who that could be?
I think it's either going to be Dominic Mysterio winning Money in the Bank and cashing in. That's one of my predictions for this year. Or
That's a
Braun
great
Breaker
one.
is going to get that big crowning moment. There has to be a reason that they hyped him up to get this big match and him to come up short like that. But I genuinely think Dominic Mysterio is going to win Money in the Bank and cash in, because that would be the perfect way for someone like him to get that big win. And the crowd is going to go nuts when it happens. So
100%.
not only are we going to get that champion under 30, but those are my two picks. Unless they go with what you said and just shoot Obafemi to the moon, because they have a lot of people that can do it. And we all know they want to get Voldemort out of the history books. Javon Evans is right there to become the youngest world heavyweight champion ever. So they got a lot of options.
I think both your predictions could come true in 2026 easily. So high percentage of those.